Application security company Snyk is acquiring Helios to bolster their visibility into how data drives software security needs. The move is aimed to help close the gap between developers and SecOps teams that are trying to deliver user security after the program has been written. By aligning the build time and runtime aspects of application security, Snyk and Helios are hoping to help more teams shift left on DevSecOps. Tom, what's a key takeaway from this announcement?
So I think it's important for people to realize that just because a program is secure when it's built doesn't mean that it stays that way. I'm going to reference something that our good friend Corey, the editor of this show, likes to talk about all the time: video games. Remember when we were kids, or at least when Steven and I were kids, and everything was on a Nintendo cartridge? And once you bought it, that was that. Any bugs that were in that game stayed forever because you couldn't patch a cartridge. Well, a lot of software developers kind of look at their code inside of an application like that. Now, thankfully today, we have the ability to install updates and fix security holes and patch exploits. But the problem is you have to know that those things are going on. And that there's a little bit of a gap there, because if someone finds an exploit in your code, unless they're actively using it to break things, you may never know. That's actually one of the reasons why massive scale nation state hacking is such a huge problem. It's because those people really don't want you to know that there's a hole in the code that they can take over. So what Snyk did when they acquired Helios was they picked up a company that is absolutely focused on runtime security. They're doing data collection. They're seeing how the applications are being used. And more importantly, they're looking for ways that those applications can be misused. And by taking that information and feeding it back to Snyk, what they're effectively saying is, we can find the bad actors as they're actively exploiting this. Think about all of the times that you've heard over the last several years of rundown stories about how there was a gap between when the exploit was discovered and exploited, and then when the company found out that it was being misused. Usually there's weeks or possibly even months. And what's happening now is that with Helios, you can find out about that in, well, hours optimistically, but realistically more like days. So you can rush a patch out. And because it's really focused on things like cloud applications, you can rev those really fast to start closing some of those holes. And as we'll find out later, I think, there are some companies that really wish they could patch these holes a little bit faster. So I think that this is overall a great pickup. It may not have all the flash of buying like a huge product line or a switch or putting a different label on something, but you'll see that as applications become more secure, it will be better overall for people because they will have to think about security a little bit less.